stories, and reports that make the difference. This is Agidigbo News, 88.7 FM.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Good evening. Welcome to News Around the World on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am WURAOLA YUSUFF. The headlines: NIS to introduce emergency passport for Nigerians abroad. Or your government commits to advancing women's opportunities in aviation. David Beckham knighted by King Charles at Windsor Castle. US Senate effort to reopen government show frustration as deal proves elusive. Arsenal win in Prague to match 122-year club record. And now the details. The Nigeria Immigration Service has announced plans to introduce a single travel emergency passport, a new biometric travel document designed to help Nigerians abroad whose passport expired, lost, or stolen to return home securely and verifiably. The Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nananamdab, disclosed this during the joint thematic meeting of the Khartoum Rabat and Niamey processes held in Abuja, which Nigeria co-hosted with the government of France. This was contained in a statement issued by the Service Public Relations Officer, ACI Akinshola Akinlabi, today. According to Nandap, the step will replace the current emergency travel certificate, ETC, as part of NIS's ongoing reforms aimed at strengthening identity management and border governance frameworks in line with global best practices. The Oyo State government has reaffirmed its readiness to collaborate with the aviation sector, especially on advancing opportunities for women in the industry. The Deputy Governor, Barrister Adebayo Lawal, stated this during a courtesy visit by a delegation of women in aviation at the Western Hall Secretariat at Ibadan, where he promised that government will act on all resolutions submitted after the national conference. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele was at the event. Here are the details.
Women in aviation across the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, under the auspices of Women in Aviation International, gathered in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, for this year's annual conference tagged Connect, Engage, Inspire. This year's theme is a call to action to reflect the association's mission to build bridges, spark ambition, and foster meaningful partnerships across sectors and generations. While receiving the association's delegates, the state's deputy governor, Barrister Adebayo Lawal, appreciated the association for choosing Ibadan as their host city, saying it reflects the confidence in the administration's commitment to aviation's development. Barrister Bayo Lawal noted that the Samuel Oladoke Akintola is being upgraded to international standard is a project inspired by Ibadan's historical place as the birthplace of Nigeria's aviation industry.
If you go to Samuel Oladoke Akintola Airport, you'll see the evidence of it. And we must appreciate them because it's one thing to see evidence of a particular event. It's another to ignore it. They have not ignored it.
The Deputy Governor, while speaking further, emphasized that Oyo State's support for the conference reflects its dedication to infrastructural renewal and the development of human capital in the aviation industry. The Deputy Governor noted that the government's ongoing investment in the Samuel Adoke Akintola Airport signals Oyo State's readiness to become a hub for air transport and logistics in Nigeria.
To support them in their request. As a matter of fact, it's Oyo State government that is now holding this conference with them just to show the world Oyo State is ready to collaborate international.
Earlier in her remarks, the founder of Women in Aviation Nigeria chapter, Dr. Rejoice Ndunachi, applauded the visionary leadership of the Seyi Makinde-led administration, while noting that Oyo State can become a model of aviation inclusion and youth-driven innovation in Nigeria. Dr. Joyce, while speaking further, said their coming on a courtesy visit is anchored on 3 key objectives, which is to connect with the Oyo State government to explore collaborative opportunities in aviation, STEM development, and youth innovation. Dr. Joyce further noted that the association also plans to engage with schools, communities, and institutions to launch Ibadan Girls Fly initiative and also to inspire the next generation of aviators, innovators, and leaders.
Also engage. The second one is engage. We are engaging with schools, communities, and institutions across the country to launch our Ibadan Girls Fly. It's an initiative through our Girls in Aviation Day, a mentorship and a scholarship program designed to introduce young girls to careers in aviation and aerospace.
In their separate remarks, the chairperson of Women in Aviation International, Oyo State Chapter, Ike Johnson Ego, and the vice chairperson, Miss Sheyifumi Peace Akimbong, both called on parents and guardians to encourage their wards, most especially the girls, to explore careers in aviation industry as the opportunities there are limitless.
We hope a lot. We hope to achieve togetherness, love, unity, mentorship, friendship, peace.
Because some people believe if you don't go for pilots, you can't work in aviation section. There are different sections and segments in aviation, be it medical, be it engineering. It's wide for everybody to learn and come in to know other aspects of professionalism in life. And in aviation is #1 in every other industry. We need other industries.
The highlight of the event was the presentation of the state plaque by the Deputy Governor to the association. The event had in attendance commissioners in the cabinet of the Oyo State government, women in aviation delegates across the nation, amongst others. Oluwapemi Bamidele, Agidigbo FM News.
Members of Women in Aviation International Nigeria chapter visited the Ark of Hope for All Foundation as part of their commitment to community service and humanitarian outreach. The visit, which took place during the association's national conference, showcased one of the core values of the organization, magnanimity and compassion towards the less privileged. Speaking during the event, the president of the association, Dr. Mrs. Rejoice, commended the foundation for its dedication to caring for vulnerable children and pledged the association's readiness to collaborate with the organization to help realize the dreams of the children under its care. Dr. Ndudinachi said Women in Aviation is committed to not only promoting women's inclusion in the aviation sector, but also giving back to society through humanitarian acts. While reacting to the show of love, one of the children at the foundation prayed for the association's continued success and expressed deep appreciation for the love and support shown to them. The event ended with a renewed sense of hope and partnership between the two organizations. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kunle Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola. New York's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani stated he has shown how the Democrats can defeat the U.S. president as he celebrated his victory in the city's election. On the eve of the election, President Donald Trump said Mr. Mamdani, who is known for left-wing policies and campaigning on issues like affordable housing, will bring disaster to the city if elected. Mamdani is the first Muslim, South Asian, and the youngest person in a century to be elected as the famous city's mayor. He won with 60.2% votes to defeat his closest rival, Andrew Cuomo, the former state governor. More than 2 million people voted in this year's poll, according to the New York State Board of Elections. David Beckham has been knighted by King Charles in what the retired British soccer star described as his proudest moment. The former England soccer captain accepted the knighthood for his services to sports and charity on Tuesday at a ceremony in Windsor Castle, where Japanese-British author and screenwriter Kazuo Ishiguro and Ellen Page also received honors. Beckham represented England in 115 international games and won league titles in 4 different countries. And that ends the news. From Kunle Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola.
You're welcome back. And now we shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya. A UPS wide-body cargo plane crashed on Tuesday and erupted into a fireball moment after takeoff from the international airport in Louisville, Kentucky, killing 7, including all 3 aboard, and injuring 11 on the ground, according to officials. Flames from the crash shortly before sundown ignited a string of fires in an industrial corridor adjacent to the airport, forcing authorities to halt flight operations through the night. The Louisville Airport, which is home to UPS World Port, a global hub for the shipping company's air cargo operations and its largest package handling facility worldwide, was expected to reopen on Wednesday morning. Bipartisan effort in the U.S. Senate to reopen the federal government as early as this week gave way to fresh signs of frustration on Tuesday, even as Republicans and Democrats aired details of a possible part out of the 5-week-old impasse. The shutdown, which is said to become the longest in U.S. history, on Wednesday gave way to the first glimmers of a breakthrough in closed-door bipartisan discussions that lawmakers said were aimed at agreeing on a new short-term funding bill to reopen the government and give Congress additional time to agree on full-year appropriations bills. The Senate voted on a 14th time to reject existing legislation to fund government operations through November 21, with Democrats demanding an extension of expiring federal tax credits to help Americans pay for private health insurance under the Affordable Care Act. Republicans say the government must reopen before health care talks begin. And that ends the news from Kulayamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya.
You're welcome back once again. And now in the exciting world of sports. Mikel Merino scored twice as Arsenal comfortably beat Slavia Prague and the league phase of the Champions League to extend their winning run to 10 matches in all competitions. It was also an 8 successive clean sheet, matching a club record set back in 1903 over 2 different seasons. Arsenal's opening goal came in the 32nd minute when they were awarded a penalty after the video assistant referee VAR penalized Lucas for handball after Gabriel flicked on a corner. The Gunners weren't at their best in the first half and had to navigate a tricky opening period with Provot shooting wide for Slavia Prague, but when well placed, but Mikel Arteta's side started the second half extremely well and doubled their lead seconds after the restart when Mourinho volleyed Leandro Trossard's cross into the bottom corner. The victory continued Premier League leader Arsenal's excellent start to the season with 4 wins from 4 matches, and the Champions League as they extended their unbeaten run to 13 matches in all competitions. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. NIS to introduce emergency passport for Nigerians abroad. Or your government commits to advancing women's opportunities in aviation. David Beckham knighted by King Charles at Windsor Castle. US Senate efforts to reopen government show frustration as deal proves elusive. Arsenal win in Prague to match a 122-year club record. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Kindly note that you can't become what you need to be by remaining what you are. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am WURAOLA YUSUFF. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State government has said the over 1.5 million out-of-school children.
We give you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
The Southwest in Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any